Good evening, students. I welcome you all in our last session of this revisionary topics in which we will be covering total income and tax calculation provision. So in the last session, we have covered TDS and return filing process and deduction part also. And in this last session today, we are going to cover our computation of total income and tax provision. I believe that you all are studying very hard to achieve the goal of your life to become a chartered accountant as soon as possible. There were some queries in the last session. Before that, Asta is asking something. Sir, if minor child gets gift of more than 50,000 or gift of any immovable property, then that gift above 50,000 or income from such immovable property, can it will get clubbed? Of course, only minor, that income which has been earned by himself via physical work, skill, or talent is not going to be clubbed. Or if that is an handicapped minor child suffering from disability under Section 80, then it's not going to be clubbed. Otherwise, any other income is going to be clubbed. And sir, when HUF partition its income in the hands of minor will clubbed, yes, that income also going to be clubbed in the hands of the parents whose income is higher. Okay. Tanu is saying good evening. Good evening, Tanu. I guess one student also asked in the, I guess, last class session, RTP, I guess Ishan was asking a question from RTP regarding, that was from partnership from Ishan. So I guess that was query number 5 you asked regarding some partnership firm. So I don't have that question, but when I go through that question you asked, so the case was like that. Ishan is here or not? Is he joined yet? Yes, so I guess you asked a question that was regarding the partnership firm. So let me tell you, and for all of the student also, that was a good question. In that question, it was written something like that. Information was given like X, Y, Z, a partnership firm provides interest on capital to a partner, Mr. A, suppose. The relevant information I am writing over here, and the capital contribution of Mr. A was 10 lakh rupees in that partnership firm. And the rate of interest is 15% rate of interest was there. It was also written in that question that the partner is going to receive, I guess, 30,000 rupees per month as salary. There were 3 partners technically in that question. And 30,000 per month for each partner. Salary is going to be received. So the question was this: what is going to be the taxable income in the hands of partner Mr. A from that partnership firm? So in that question, Mr. A was getting interest and salary. So the question was there that what is going to be the taxable income via partnership firm in the hands of Mr. A. So we all know that under PGBP, up to 12% interest on capital or loan of partner is allowable. And the allowable part is going to be taxed in the hands of partners. So out of this 10 lakh rupees, 15% interest, that means 1,50,000 has been accrued to the partner, but allowability part is only 12%. So interest is going to be taxable 1,20,000 from that partnership firm. But the main point was this, and I guess you might be confused in this point, Ishan, because the answer was only 1,20,000. So you might be thinking why remuneration has not been allowed and taxable in the hands of partner A. So you might miss a line in that question. It was written that Mr. A was a sleeping partner. You can go through that question. So he was a sleeping partner. So sleeping partner generally does not get any remuneration or salary. So that's why it was written in the question that partners are getting salary 30,000 per month each to each partner. But it was not written in the question that Mr. A is getting salary also. It was written that Mr. A was a sleeping partner. So you should understand he is not getting the salary. The other 2 partner must be getting the salary income. So in his hand, only interest income is going to be taxable. I hope it's clear now. Ishan, is it clear now? Tanu is saying, sir, in this question, I am not getting what to do. Can you explain? Which is this question, Tanu? See this question. Gurmeet is engaged in the business of plying goods carriages on 1st April 2021. He owns 10 trucks out of 5 are heavy goods vehicle, etc. You are asking a question of assessment year 23-24. We are solving question 25-26. So these kind of question we cannot entertain because it relate to the preceding to previous year. If you want the solution, so I will solve that and I will upload that solution on the portal also. I have already uploaded 80G and double G solution question on the portal. You can download it. Somebody was asking at that day, sir, what will happen if there is 80G and double G is there? Also, I have uploaded MCQ number, I guess 33, which was regarding advanced tax calculation. So definitely you can download it. Tanu, it is previous year question, but how it is possible the assessment year has been written 23-24. Even if you want the solution, I will solve it and I will upload the solution. Okay. Shagupta is saying good evening. In the last class, there was a question of illustration number 13 also on page number 6.51. So who asked that question? This question has been asked. That was a deduction question. Somebody was asking that question in the last class. Who was there? You asked Shagupta. Okay, so you had a problem in this question. So let me solve this question for you. You can see in this question that there are 4 different cases has been given. Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, and Mr. D. Okay, there are 4 separate cases has been given. And you have to find out the relevant deduction, etc., which is going to be applicable in the following case. As you can see, the question is compute the amount of deduction, if any, allowable under the provision of the Income Tax Act 1961 in case of A, B, C, and D, if they have exercise option of shifting out of the default tax regime. Fine. So assume that there has been no principal payment in respect of any of the above cases. So you can see in this question, there is information which is relevant has been given separately for each case, and each case is a separate case. First of all, you have to identify which reduction is relevant in which case. You can see amount of loan taken 43 lakh rupees in case of Mr. A. My marker is not working on this Acrobat reader, so that's why I'm just marking it like this. So loan taken from HFC, date of sanction is 1st April 2021, date of disbursement is 1st May 2021. Now purpose of loan is relevant. First of all, you should understand what is the purpose of loan, whether it's an education loan, whether it's a loan for a electric vehicle, whether it's a loan for property. So according to the purpose of loan, we will identify the deduction and the consequence solution part. Now acquisition of residential house property for self-occupied. So you can see now in this case, the loan provision is applicable, which will fall under income from house property. And the relevant deduction of interest we can claim under income from house property, as well as, if it is possible, section 80E and 80 80EE and 80EE could also be applicable. But it should fulfill the following condition. The stamp duty value is 45 lakh and the rate of interest is 9% per annum. Now you can see, in case of Mr. A, now you understood that house property loan has been taken, and the house property loan is having 2 treatment. One is income under that house property, and the other could be under section 80EE and 80EE. So one by one we will see what is going to be the treatment in this case. Now you can see the treatment. Let me show you the solution. So it was the loan value was 43 lakh, clear? And the rate is 9%. So technically, and the loan sanction date was 1st April 2021. no principal amount information has been given. So we will take full 43 lakh with 9% interest. That would be 3,87,000. You can see that 43 lakh and the rate of interest is 9% per annum. No repayment has been made yet. So we are assuming full amount of loan is outstanding in our previous year, because the question says there has been no principal repayment. So full value of loan is still outstanding. So how much was my interest value? That was 3,87,000 in case of A. Now, because property is for self-acquisition purpose, if I'm going to solve it in a separate sheet for you. So in case of A, the loan value 43 lakh, rate of interest is 9%. So total interest is 3,87,000. Now the property is for self-occupation purpose. So the self-occupied property, and we have to solve this question assuming that we are solving this question under optional tax regime. So if property is self-occupied, then the annual value is going to be nil. How much interest we can claim as deduction? And that is maximum 2 lakh rupees out of this 3,87,000. So there would be a loss of 2 lakh rupees under income from house property. So this is the treatment of 2 lakh rupees interest out of this 3,87,000. How much remaining? 1,87,000. Now you can see this case is satisfying section 80EE condition. The 80EE condition, which says the loan value should not be exceeding 45 lakh, and the other condition, the loan must be sanctioned between a specific date. All conditions of 80EE has been fulfilled, and the house is used for self-occupied purpose. So under 80EE, you can claim up to maximum 1,50,000 deduction. So we have paid 1,87,000 interest. Out of that, we can claim 1,50,000 under 80EE deduction. So that is going to be the treatment of case number A. I hope it's clear. Now, what was case number B was saying? In the same way, if you'll see, 45 lakh rupees loan taken, deposit taken NBFC, 1st April 2020, and date of disbursement is 1st May 2020. Now, acquisition of the residential house property for again self-occupation. Now, in this case, the stamp duty value is 48 lakh. Now, that is a problem. Stamp duty value should not exceed 45 lakh for claiming deduction under section 80EE or EE. Because the date is relevant for section 80EE in this case, but the stamp duty value exceed. So we will calculate 9% interest on now 45 lakh. So if you will see 45 lakh, 9% interest is 4,05,000 rupees. Out of this 4,05,000, we can only claim 2 lakh rupees under income from house property. Why? Because the stamp duty value is exceeding. So we can claim under income from house property against self-occupied property. Value is nil. Interest is 4,05,000. We can claim only 2 lakh rupees interest over here. And 80EE is not applicable because stamp duty value exceeding 45 lakh. You should go and once please read again section 80EE and EE. If you will going to read that section again, I believe the problem, the confusion will be clear. Now the third and fourth case is for electric vehicle. That 20 lakh rupees, Mr. C case, taking from NBFC, purchase of electric vehicle for personal use, and the loan value was 20 lakh and the cost of electric vehicle was 22 lakh. So how much is going to be the interest? 20 lakh, 10%. So that means the maximum 2 lakh rupees interest could be allowed under section 80EE. But what is the maximum limit under section 80EE? The 80EE maximum limit is 1,50,000. So you can claim 1,50,000 interest under section 80EE in case of Mr. C. In case of Mr. D, we cannot claim deduction for electric vehicle because the date of sanction is not within the limit which should be as per section 80EE. The loan should be on or after 1st April 2019. But in this case, the loan has been sanctioned before 1st April 2019. So D cannot claim 80EE. So you should go and please revise section 80EE, 80EA and 80EB. So that would be clear that how we have claimed these deductions. Now that is clear, Shagupta? Okay, you got it? Well done. Okay, there was one more query on page number 7.68. This deduction topic has been solved. Now, there was two query, I guess, from these TDS provision. One was on page number 7.44, illustration number 9, point number 3. Somebody was asked, I guess, Astha, you asked regarding this point. What was your query? Jayendra asked, set out interest rupees 420, set of 2 lakh restricted under section 80EA 150 claimed in current year, then how much loss can carry forward? Up to 2 lakh rupees maximum loss, you can set it off, but you can carry forward the balance loss into the next year. Who asked about this? Why on salaried person or pensioner TDS not there? Look, in this question, if you'll see the question, the point number 3 is saying Mr. Satish, a salaried person, individual, and I guess they are the pairs. And the payment is brokerage or commission. So if you will see, this is section 194H. Under section 194H, the payer must be that person whose business receipt is exceeding 1 crore or professional receipt exceeding 50 lakh. So because in case of point number 3, Mr. Satish, a salaried individual. So a salaried do not have a business turnover. That's why section 194H is not applicable in case of brokerage and commission. If you will read section 194H, you will see in case of payer, the person whose business turnover is exceeding 1 crore or in case of profession exceeding 50 lakh, that is only going to be covered. So that person can be covered under section 194M. But M is not applicable. M is applicable in this case because section 194H is not applicable. Clear? Now you're also asking, I guess the same case in case of point number 4. Because of Dheeraj a pensioner, so in case of section 194C, there is also only those individual HUF has been covered, those turnover exceeding 1 crore from business or professional shift exceeding 50 lakh rupees. So a salaried person do not have business turnover. So of course they are not includable under section 194C. That's why section 194M has been actually incorporated. Earlier there was no section 194M. But government realized that there are certain individual HUF, those turnover is less than 1 crore or they do not have any business, but they are spending a lot of amount on professional fees, contract, they are constructed big properties. So for those individual HUF, section 194M has been incorporated. Okay. Next is, there was a query on page number 7.68. 15G and 15H, I guess somebody was asking the difference between 15G and 15H. It was on page number 7.68. Who asked that difference between page 15G and 15H in the last class? if you will read section or formula 15G and 15H, so there is a major difference that 15G is for other and for 15H is for senior citizen. But there is one more minute difference between those 15G and 15H. If you'll read it very carefully, you will see, let me show you on the relevant page. This is 15G and 15H concept. And you will see in this case, 15G and 15H. There is a concept in point number 2, if you will see. The point number 3, 1B is saying something which is not applicable in case of 15H. So in case of 15G, 1B is applicable, but when you will read point number 4, which is for 15H, in that case, these points 1B, subsection 1B is not applicable. Now what 1B says of subsection 3, 1B says, if you are having these income, if you are having these 8 kind of income and you are not a senior citizen, and if you are having these 8 income and the aggregate of these 8 income, if aggregate of these income, if does not exceed the basic exemption limit, then you can file form number 15G. So the aggregate of these 8 income should not exceed 2,50,000 or 5 lakh or 3 lakh as the case may be. If the aggregate of these income exceeding the basic exemption limit, then that person cannot file 15G, even if the tax liability is nil. Understand, if you are receiving dividend of 4 lakh rupees and you are having basic exemption limit of suppose 2,50,000 and you are receiving dividend 4 lakh rupees. Now, because your income is exceeding the basic exemption limit, you cannot file 15G. Even if you have 80C deduction, suppose you are having 80C deduction and your tax liability is going to be nil. But the point says if the aggregate of these income exceeding the basic exemption limit, then you cannot file 15G. But in case of 15H, it says if the total and aggregate of these income tax liability is nil, whether they are exceeding basic exemption limit does not matter. But if the tax liability is nil in case of senior citizen, they are having this power that they can file form number 15H. So 15G and 15H is having two main difference. One is the age, of course 15G is for other than senior citizen and 15H for senior citizen. And one more difference is point number 1B. 1B says that if the aggregate of these income exceeding basic exemption limit, then it is irrelevant whether your tax liability is there or nil. You cannot file 15G. But even if the aggregate of these income exceeding basic exemption limit in case of senior citizen, but if the tax liability is nil, then subsection 1B will not be applied to senior citizen. Those are resident. So to whomsoever it may concern who asked this question, I have just answered you that what is the difference between these two. Okay. So now we are going to discuss today's relevant questions one by one. There are some, of course, we are going to cover the full questions one by one. And let me tell you, these are very important questions, very relevant also for examination purpose. And these are those compulsory questions which technically having almost 15 marks or 12 marks questions in which you might need to calculate total income as per both regime, default and optional, and of course the total income and the most beneficial tax liability could be asked in these kind of questions. So it is very important that we should very carefully read those questions and going to solve it. As I always say in the starting of the question, you have to see what is the requirement of question. So this is a question Mr. Brajesh has set up a unit in SEZ. But before starting the question, let me show you what is the requirement of this question. Compute the total income and tax payable by Mr. Brajesh for assessment year 25-26 under default tax regime and normal provision of the Act. So we have to calculate the total income and the tax payable also under default as well as per normal provision of the Act. Okay. So now we will read this question. And First of all, the relevant information is given. Mr. Brajesh has set up a unit in special economic zone. First of all, we are going to solve it under section 115 BAC and a default tax regime. In May 2017, the total turnover, export turnover and net profit for the year 31st March 25 were 120 lakh, 45 lakh, 7.5 lakh respectively. Out of the export turnover of 45 lakh, only 40 lakh has been received in convertible foreign exchange by 30th September 2025. So can you tell me why this information has been given? On the basis of this information, what kind of deduction we can claim? What kind of deduction we are talking about regarding this information? Mohammad Farhan is saying 10 AA, very good. Kushi is saying 10 AA, Jayendra is saying 10 AA, Sachin is saying 10 AA. Why, Sachin, why are you writing down AA in the bracket? Ishan Bisht is saying 10 AA. Almas is saying 10 AA. Shagufta Parveen is saying 10 AA. Can you calculate the 10 AA in this case? How much would be the 10 AA in this case? The formula we have already discussed in the last class also. There was a relevant question regarding it. The formula is PGBP into ET upon TT. And because the unit has been starting operated in May 2017, so in that case, 50% of this value we can claim under section 10 AA as a deduction. So in this example, you can see the profit has been given 7.5 lakh. Export turnover would be 40 lakh, the amount which has been received, and the total turnover has been given 120 lakhs. So how much is going to be my deduction? 140625. Sachin, okay, no problem. It was a confusion. 1.25 lakh. It is exactly this much amount, or there would be some, let me see, 7 lakh 50,000 and divided by I guess it's 1.25 lakh rupees. Clear? The reduction we can claim is 1,25,000. But there is a catch. You can see. Aksa Banu is saying 1402665. No. It would be 1,25,000. But there is a catch. This is not going to be allowed under default tax regime. You all know that. Section 10 AA, Section 35 AD, Section 35, scientific research, etc. Deductions not allowed. But we have calculated it because when we will solve this question as per normal scheme, then we need to calculate it over there. But we have just calculated it for that purpose. Under default tax regime, that is not going to be allowed. Okay. During 24-25, Mr. Brajesh has commenced a business of warehousing facility for storage of food grain. The net profit of this business as per profit and loss account is 8,50,000. The following items are debited to profit and loss account. So if we are going to solve this question as per default tax regime, in this case, from this SCZ business, the SCZ business profit would be 7,50,000 we have to take. There would not be any 10 AA deduction. Now, second business is warehousing facility. That is also a section 35 AD business. But because 35 AD not allowed, so it would be a normal business for my purpose and we cannot claim any 35 AD deduction over it. The profit has been given 8,50,000. Now, one by one, we will read the provision. And according to it, we are going to add back or reduce the 8,50,000. Personal drawings, whether it's going to be allowed or disallowed. Of course, it's going to be disallowed. That is going to be added back 70,000. Advance income tax paid. Income tax cannot be allowed as an expenditure. purchase of warehouse building of 10 lakh rupees on 10/6/2024 for the purpose of storage of food grain. So we have purchased a warehouse building of 10 lakh rupees and we have debited that item. But under default tax regime, we can claim the depreciation of it, but we cannot claim the full value of deduction. So this 10 lakh rupees also going to be add back, and the relevant depreciation, that would be 10%, is going to be reduced against it. Clear? Now the following items are credited to the profit and loss account. So these are income from other source, you can see. So we have to reduce these also, 15,000. Then interest on fixed deposit, 20,000. Then dividend from Indian companies, 32,000. That's also going to be reduced from this. Now the information is regarding Mr. Brajesh is also working partner in Messrs. Nilkamal Associate, a partnership firm. Mr. Brajesh has contributed 15 lakh as capital in the firm. Further, partnership did authorize payment of interest to partners at 13% and also payment of remuneration to partners 20,000 per month. Whole of the remuneration is allowable as deduction to Messrs. Nilkamal Associate. So in case of interest, we know 12% is allowable. And in case of remuneration, the question already explained it to you that the full amount of remuneration has been allowed. So we know the allowable portion is going to be taxed. There is no other information regarding this my business income. So this business income total profit would be 18,53,000. The second business, fine. That was my first income, special economic zone. I can say that. This is my second income. Now the third PGBP is from partnership firm. In case of partnership firm, 13% interest is going to be paid to the partners. So in case of interest, the relevant 12% is going to be allowed. So 15 lakh divided into 12% is going to be allowed as business income in the hands of Mr. Brajesh. That would be 1,80,000. And the question says that the full remuneration is also allowed, which is 20,000 per month. So technically 2,40,000 is going to be my remuneration income. So that would be total 4,20,000. So if that was A, this is B, and now this is C. These are my business income. The aggregate of my business income, including A, B, and C. Now my income from other source, which has been given over here, the aggregate of these, the 15,000 interest on saving bank account with post office. Now in case of post office, there is an exemption of 3,500 rupees in case of interest from post office that we have gone through under income from other source provision. And I've also marked it as an important point. So 11,500 would be the post office interest taxable value. 20,000 would be my SBI interest. Dividend would be 32,000. So that would be my D income. Income from other source would be 63,500. I'm going to solve this further on the separate sheet, so you would be able to understand the calculation part also. So the aggregate of gross total income, the business and the income from other source would be 30,86,500 rupees. Now, of course, we are under default tax regime, so there would not be any deduction allowed. Only 3 deductions are allowed: 80 CCD2, then Agnivir Yojana, then 80 JJJ. There are no deductions out of these 3 in the question. So there is not going to be any deduction. So that is going to be my total income. 30,86,500. Total income. Now we have to calculate tax on this as per slab rate. As in my income, there is no special rate income has been included. So this is going to be taxed as per normal slab rate, and the slab rate tax would be 6,15,950 rupees. Would surcharge be applicable? No surcharge, no rebate. Because income exceeding 7 lakh, no rebate, no surcharge, as income does not exceed 50 lakh, but 4% cess would be there. That would be 24638. Now 640,588. If we round it off, what would be the final tax liability? If we round it off, what would be the final tax liability? Let me tell you, before finding out that, you must remember there was a relevant information has been given, that was advance tax. In the question, 1 lakh has been given as advance tax, which we disallowed. Asked is asking, sir, after 10 years, we can also claim 50% like this only? Yes, we can claim. But in that question, there must be some information that after 10 years, there are certain requirement to transfer amount of exemption to a special reserve account, which can be utilized only for some specified purpose. So that condition has been complied or not. So if the question is silent, you can make an assumption that yes, the conditions has been complied. So we are assuming that the deduction will continue in that case. So you must see that in that question, there was an information which says advance income tax rate. So we disallowed that over here, but you should keep in your mind that this advance tax is going to be deducted while calculating my final tax liability. So these are very small things, but these are relevant for your examination purpose. This 1 lakh needs to be deducted. So the final tax liability will be 540,590. I have made it rounded off. So as per default tax regime, the tax liability would be 5,40,590. Now we have to calculate the income and tax as per normal provision. Under normal provision, we have to calculate as per optional tax regime. We will take the TI, which has been as per section 115 BAC, and we will do adjustment in this. Can you tell me some adjustment what I should do while calculating my income from 115 BAC to optional tax regime? There are some deduction specification we have to do in this. So can you tell me what kind of adjustment do I need to take into account while calculating income under optional tax regime in this question? Farhan is saying 10 double deduction. Exactly the 10 double deduction we have calculated. That was 1,25,000, which is not allowed under default tax regime, is going to be allowed in this case. And section 35 AD, the building purchase. The building purchase you can disallow and you can allow under optional tax regime, which we have added back over there. Now we can claim the deduction of it, but the depreciation we need to add it back because we have claimed full 10 lakh and the depreciation we have claimed in the default tax regime. So the effect of depreciation we have to nullify. Good, Pooja, very good. So after doing this, now this would be my new GTI, the gross total income. The new GTI would be 2061500. Now there was some deductions. There was some deduction. One is for section 80 TTA, that would be 10,000. And you can see there was a payment of insurance premium also, which we do not consider. Mr. Brajesh has also paid the premium of 60,000 on life insurance policy in the name of so and so. The policy taken on 1/10/2018, and the sum assured was 5 lakh rupees. So we can claim the deduction under section 80C maximum up to 10% of the sum assured. So the payment is 60,000, but the sum assured is 5 lakh. So we can claim maximum 10% of that sum assured. So my total income would be 20 lakh and 150. Now I have to calculate tax as per normal provision of the Act. As per normal provision, if you will see, my tax liability would be 4,12,950. There would be no rebate, no surcharge, but there would be cess 4%, 16518. The total liability would be 429,468. Advance tax paid 1 lakh. After that, the tax liability would be 329,470. Rounded off. Clear? Do we have to solve anything further? Yes, because the total income is exceeding 20 lakh rupees. So you can see the AMT provision has been applicable automatically. In this question, AMT provision has been applicable. So we have to calculate now the AMT tax also. If the question says that you have to calculate the tax as per default tax regime and the scheme opting out of default tax regime, then we do not need to calculate this AMT tax. But when the question says you have to calculate tax as per default tax regime and as per normal provision of that. So under normal provision of that, the optional tax regime as well as the AMT both falls. So because the condition has been fulfilled, in that situation, we have to calculate the AMT tax liability also in this case. For the purpose of AMT, we will take TI as per normal provision of that. Can you solve the AMT income in this question? How we will find the AMT income in this question, students? We have discussed the AMT provision. Can you tell me what do I need to add it back to find out the adjusted total income under AMT provision? It's a very simple question. Very few things are going to be added back to find out the AMT adjusted total income. What do I need to add back to calculate the adjusted total income? Everybody answered. Harshada is saying 10 AA and 35 AD and minus depreciation. Well done, Harshada. Very well done. Almas is also gave the correct answer. Very good. Jender also gave the correct answer. Very nice. Astha also gave the correct answer. Very, very, very good. Kushi saying add back all deduction 10 AA and 35 AD. And also we need to adjust the depreciation. Very well done. So we have to add back deduction section 10 AA. That is 1,25,000. Then we have to add back 35 AD. So technically we are going to find out again income which is kind of default tax regime income plus 10 lakh and depreciation we can claim. So after that my income would be 3026,500. Clear? 125 we have claimed. So that would be 3026,500. Now we have to calculate AMT tax. This is my ATI. Now AMT tax would be 18.5%. Of this value, that would be 559,903. 4% cess would be in this case. Again, that would be 22,396. So the AMT tax liability would be 582,299. Advance tax we have paid already 1 lakh. So that would be 482,300 rounded off. Now we have 3 tax. This is tax 1. This is tax 2. This is tax 3. Can you tell me the final tax liability? What would be the final tax liability in this case? And what would be treated as total income in this case? And would there be any AMT credit for future, if any? So can you answer these three questions? In front of you, there are all three taxes. So can you answer me the final tax liability? The total income, what would be regarded as total income in this case? And would there be any AMT credit? And if yes, what amount of AMT credit we can claim? Shagufta, okay. Somebody answered. Let me see. Money Vanan. Money Vanan is saying tax liability is 482,300. What is the AMT credit if that is a tax liability? Tax liability, Jayendra is saying 482,300. Taxable income would be 3026500. Very good. And AMT credit would be 152,830. Let me see the AMT credit answer is correct or not, because everything else seems fine. 482,300. Yes, correct answer. Very well done. 7 more answers are there. Almas also gave the correct answer. Arshada also gave the correct answer. Pooja also gave the correct answer. Mani Vanan also correct. Well done. Santosh also gave the correct answer. Very nice. Very nice to see that you all gave the correct answer. Very nice. So we know that how to find out the tax liabilities. Out of these two, we have to find out the higher one. So in this two, 482,300 is higher. Then out of tax one and this higher, we have to find the lower one. So that would be again 482,300. And because this is my AMT credit tax, so that would be my final tax liability. The relevant income would be my total income. And of course, because the tax has been paid higher than this tax, so difference, which was 152,830, would be my AMT credit in this question. Understood how to solve the question in the examination? Yes, Sachin, well done. Correct answer. Moving on to next question. The solution is over here. I will upload these notes also, students, so you can see the solution in detail. Now, question number second, which is from MTP2. And now this is for a professional person. Mr. Vivek is an advocate. Okay. Mr. Chauhan Tej Prakash Bhai is asking on query portal. Sir, my doubt is in 80EE that it is only for self-occupied or both self-occupied and let out. So in the last class, Mr. Chauhan, we have clarified this thing. Somebody also asked this question. And let me tell you, 80EE is only for self-occupied property. And 80EA you can claim for both self-occupied and let out. In your study material also, if you'll go and see section 80EE and 80EA deduction, that is specifically has been written over there that 80EE is only for self-occupied and 80EA is for both cases. Okay. So Mr. Vivek is an advocate and furnish you the receipt and payment account for the financial year 24-25. So what is the difference when there is receipt and payment account? If it is an income and expenditure, so we can take the profit or surplus value and we can again allowed or disallowed relevant things. But if in the question receipt and payment has been given, then in this situation, we have to consider only those income those are my business income, and only those expenses, those are allowed expenditure. On the basis of that, we will find our current year profit from this relevant profession. Okay. But before that, we have to see what is the requirement of question. You can see it's a huge question. You have to compute the total income and tax liability of Mr. Vivek for 25-26, assuming he opts out of the default tax regime under section 115BC. So he specifically saying that you just need to calculate the tax liability, assuming he's opting out of the default tax regime. He's not saying you have to calculate tax as per normal provision of the Income Tax Act. If he said so, then we have to again see the AMT concept. But in this question, we do not need to solve any AMT concept. We just need to solve our question as per optional tax regime. Okay, chalo. Harshad is asking, sir, do we need to show AMT credit too while answering? I have already answered this question multiple times. Do not give any information in your answer which is not required by the question. So the question was just asked you that kindly calculate the tax from the default tax regime and as per normal provision of the act. So you can just find out and you can just show that what is the final tax liability in that case. You do not need to show the AMT credit. Okay. So this is the information, the PGBP information has been given. So we will consider only those income, those are relevant for my business and the relevant expenditure. Starting from receipt side, the opening balance definitely not going to be considered. Fees from legal services, 49,60,000. Okay. Then motor car loan. Loan is not my income, so I will not consider it. I will take the interest or the depreciation as per the given information later. Sale of shares of 5275 listed equity shares sold on so and so. So this would be the treatment under capital gain. We will solve it later. Now staff salary, of course, going to be my expenditure. Other general and administrative expenditure is going to be my business expenditure. Office rent, of course, 1,48,000. Life insurance premium would be 80C deduction part. Motor car acquired in January, 950. So we will take the depreciation on it. Books, we will take the depreciation on it. After the additional information, we will see. Computer, we will take the depreciation on it later on. You can write it down in the examination also. So you will not forget that I did not do, I skipped the treatment of these points. Okay. Domestic drawings, not the expenditure. Motor car maintenance, yes, it could be the expenditure. But what happened generally in case of motor car, in these kind of question, the proportionate use has been given. So I just wanted to see whether the motor car has been used for fully for official purpose or is there some part which is used for personal purpose also. After that, I will consider it. Provident fund consideration, of course, 80C, closing balance is not done. Now listed equity shares on which this is for my capital gain purpose, I will take it later. Motor car put to use for both official and personal purpose. 1/3 of motor car is for personal. No interest on car loan was paid during the previous year 24-25. We are following receipt and payment system. That means cash system of accounting. So until otherwise something has been paid, we cannot consider it as an expenditure. So car loan is there. Interest is just due. If it is a business case, not a cash system of accounting, it is a mercantile system, then we can consider that interest on car loan, but not in this question because nothing has been paid. In case of car, we will only consider 2/3 of expenditure. So in case of car, we will take 2/3 expenditure for a purpose and that would be 48,000. Now, further, Mr. Vivek purchased a flat in Jhansi so and so, and it has been let out for 35,000 rupees per month. That is again for house property. We will consider it later. He earned 120 in speculation business information has been given. Consider later. Vivek received a gift of 21,000 donations. So all the business information relevant to it has been, no additional other information. So I'll complete it over here. Now I will consider the depreciation. So in case of motor car, it has been purchased in January. So the rate would be 50% of the normal rate. That would be 7.5%. And even for that, we will take only 2/3 of the depreciation because 1/3 has been used for personal purpose. It would come 47,500. Books being purchased in May, June, and September, annual publication. The rate is 40%, we all know. So that would be 32,000. Computer on 1st November, the rate is 40, but we will take only 20%. That would be 10,400. So from this business, my income would be 7,24,100. Now I am going to tell you a very interesting thing, and even if you are going to learn all provision of PGBP and computation of total income and tax, and I believe if this kind of question comes in the examination, there could be a mistake on your behalf. And what it is? When the question asked you that you have to calculate tax as per optional tax regime, that is the case of business, professional services. So we have option to show my profit of 7,24,100, or in case of profession, there is a presumptive taxation scheme under section 44A, which says you can also show 50% of your receipt as your business income, up to 50% of your receipt. So in this case, either we can show my profit 7,24,100, or we can show 49,60,000, 50%. That would be 24,80,000. If I want to show my business profit is 24,80,000, then there is no requirement of audit and maintaining of specific books of accounts. But my real income is less than that. Real income is less than that. So we have to consider the lower profit for the minimum of tax liability. Suppose, let me give you an example. Suppose this is coming 37 lakh. Just suppose 37,24,000. Out of this 49,60,000, suppose my profit is 37,24,000, and you are solving this question taking this, and you forgot about the presumptive taxation scheme provision. So you know what will be the mistake? If you will consider 4480, then that would be lower. If this is 37 lakh, then that 24 lakh would be lower. And we have to process my question further, taking my PGBP 24,80,000. Because we have option, we can show 37 lakh or we can show 24 lakh. So I would love to give tax on 24,80,000 in that question. But if this kind of question we did not solve, then maximum student, what will they do? They will consider 37 lakh for the purpose of solution. They will forget that in case of profession, I can show 50% also, because this is not exceeding 50 lakh. If it has been exceeding 50 lakh, then 4480 concept would be over. So please remember, if there is a business case, if there is a professional case, if the turnover is not exceeding the limit for which we have to go for audit, in that case, we have option that we can show our profit as per the information given or as per section 44AD or ADA. So because in this question, the lower value is 7,24,100. So I will take this further as my PGBP income. We have to conduct the audit for this case and also maintain the books of accounts. So you have to mention, you have to show this calculation also in the examination. But in this case, there is an option that Mr. Assessee can show section 44 ADA presumptive taxation profit that would be 24 lakh 80,000. But it is more than the computed profit 7 lakh 24,100, which is more beneficial to the assessee. So we will consider that income and we will go for an audit and will maintain the specific books of accounts. But if that is 37 lakh, then remember, even after solving this part, you have to take further this income for the purpose of solution of GTI, TI, tax, etc. It's a very, very, very important point. You can mark it like this or whatever you want. So these kind of mistakes, look, I believe, I guess 24 students joined live now, or there are multiple students who are going to watch this lecture complete after on YouTube, etc. So those are not watching this lecture till their examination, and those are not aware of this kind of practical utilization of 44 AD or ADA in the numerical. And if this kind of question is being framed by the examiner, what will happen? Even if they know all the concept, even if they have practiced all kind of question, but they did not practice this kind of question, their answer would be wrong. The GTI would be wrong, the PGBP income would be wrong, the TI would be wrong, the tax would be wrong. So there would be no marks in this kind of solution. So this is a very interesting question. I always say whatever question, whatever point you think very relevant and very important, you can mark it. So this is a question you should mark, very, very important for the purpose of your examination. Okay. So that was PGBP income part we have solved. Now we will see there was a capital gain, listed equity shares on which STT has been paid. Listed equity shares on which STT was paid were acquired in August 26 for 1,21,800. The FMV of the shares for 31st January 18 was 80 rupees per share. How much shares were there? The information has been given. Share receipt of 5275. Listed equity share. This is the amount of share receipt we have received. So in this case, the long term, these are section 112A shares. For this purpose, the sales consideration has been given in the question 5,95,000. But because these are shares which fall under section 112A, for the purpose of cost of acquisition, we have to take the actual purchase price. The actual cost of acquisition is 1,21,800. And we have to compare it with one more value which we need to find out as per FMV on 31st January 18 basis value, which would be in this case 4,22,000, or the sale consideration 5,95,000. Out of these two, whichever is lower we need to take. And then after these two, we have to take the higher value. The higher would be 4,22,000. So the capital gain would be in this case 1,73,000. Motor car we have solved. Now we are having information for let out property. And you can see cost of which was partly financed by a loan from Punjab National Housing Bank, 25 lakh rupees loan. His own saving was 1 lakh, deposit from Repo Bank for 9 lakh. The flat was given to the bank on a lease for 10 years for 35,000 rupees per month. And these are the relevant expenditure. So 35,000 into 12 would be my GAV, and no other information has been given. So that would be my, of course, annual value also. The municipal taxes has been given 8,200. That would be 4,11,800. Then 30% statutory deduction 123,540. Interest on housing loan has been given in question 2,01,500. How much I can deduct in this case? Full value, because this is let out property. So the income from house property would be 86,760. There's one more loss of business has been given, that is speculation business. 120 he earned in the speculation business, and another speculation business there is a loss of 180. So technically there would be 60,000 speculative loss, and which cannot be set off from any other income. So that is going to be carry forward. There are income from other source information also given in the question. Vivek received a gift of 21,000 each from his 4 family friends. So that is going to be taxed 84,000. These are for deduction 80GG. Donate to political party 3,50,000 via check. We can claim the deduction. He follows cash system of accounting. Cost inflation index has been given but not relevant because of section 112A. We cannot index the value. Now you can see the solution. I can show you over here. That was my house property income. We have solved the business income, the addition, deletion, etc. The provision of 44 AD, what we were talking about, the relevant information has been given like this. So you have to show like this in the examination that why you have considered section 44 ADA concept. Then there is a speculative loss in which the 60,000 has been going to be carry forward. The capital gain would be 1,73,000. Cash gift 84,000. This is our GTI. Life insurance premium payment deduction you can claim, repayment of housing loan, provident fund, total 379, maximum we can claim 150. 80G 100% deduction and 80GGC political party payment deduction, total 621 we can claim. This would be our total income. The tax on this income would come 6,000 on long-term capital gain after claiming 1,25,000 exemption. Total 1,73,000 was capital gain, 125 exemption on 48,000, 12.5% capital gain. The remaining income, 2,73,860. Out of this 446, 1,73,000 was long-term capital gain. The remaining would be 2,73,860. On this, up to 250 exempted, balance 23,000 is having 5% tax. Total tax would be 719. Now, very interesting. There could be a rebate up to 12,500 rupees because my TI is less than 5 lakh. But we have discussed this in the capital gain also, basic calculation also, and computation of tax chapter also, that you cannot claim rebate against tax of long-term capital gain. So you can see in this 7193, the tax part is like this. 1193 is normal income tax and 6,000 is long-term capital gain 112A tax. We cannot claim rebate out of this value. So only rebate we have 12,500, but we can only claim maximum 119. Remaining 6,000 is going to be my text. And after education, another says the final tax liability would be 6,240. So this would be a kind of question that is going to be asked in the examination. So the more practice you will do, you will be able to solve these kind of questions in the examination student. So do not being scared of these kind of questions. Do not feel it's too difficult to solve. If you do practice, you will see no part is difficult. If you're going to solve the PGB part, you will feel that yes, we can solve. If you see the capital gain part, you are seeing that that is a very simple question I can solve. Other source information, etc. The problem is when they are consolidated, then of course they look like they are creating problem, but actually it's not. So if you are going to read all information very carefully, if you are going to solve those part one by one very carefully, if you understand what is the requirement of question, if you are not missing any important information, then you would be able to solve that question very easy in the examination also, as we solved this question right now. The same type of question is given in study material also. There was loan taken for construction on 5/6, but still only 30,000 reduction, not 2 lakh. Look, there must be the loan for the purpose of repairs. If that is for repair purpose, then the deduction would be 30,000. Or it would be a case of property is self-occupied. Property is self-occupied, and if the loan is taken before 99, 1st April 99, then it would be 30,000. So please go and check what is the specific date. If it is for repair purpose, that will remain maximum 30,000. And if it is not for repair, it is for reconstruction asta or for construction purpose, then the loan must have been taken before on or before 1st April 1999. Got it? Not written repairs and loan on to 2956 and 50% for let out. So the in the balance 50% part, yeah, that was a problem in study. That question in the last session, I have also corrected that question. That is a question in which I have also asked student to correct that in the new study material, they have changed that concept. The loan date now it's on or before 1st April 1999. So you must have downloaded the old version of study material. If you will go and download the new version, you will see that question date has been changed now. It is before 1st April 1999. So 30,000 will remain in that situation. Okay, you can check it out. Tanu is saying, sir, if question asks only tax under optional tax regime, then AMT applicable? No, I said no. If in this question you can see they just ask you to calculate tax as per shifting opt-out section 115 BAC. So we are not going to calculate AMT until otherwise it has been asked under the normal provision of that. Then we need to calculate tax. Okay. So there's a short break time. So Manishji, can we go for a short break? Yes, yes, breaking. Welcome back, student. So we were discussing the provision for computation of total income and tax. There is a question from Chauhan Tej Prakash. Sir, also confused in self-occupied property when to take 30,000 and when to 2 lakh deduction of interest and house property. Let me tell you, Mr. Chauhan Tej Prakash, if your property is self-occupied, then you can claim maximum 2 lakh rupees deduction if the loan has been taken on or after 1st April 99 and within 5 years the construction has been completed. If it is for repair purpose, in case of self-occupied, listen carefully, if it is for repair purpose, in case of self-occupied, it will always be 30,000 maximum, whether loan taken before or loan taken after. If it is for other than self-occupied, then interest for repair, borrowing, there is no limit. You can claim as much of interest you want to claim. So there is limit of 30,000 in case of interest. If it is for repair purpose, in case of self-occupied, always, whether loan taken before 1499 or after. If it's for construction and loan taken before 1st April 99, it would be 30,000. On or after 1499, construction within 5 years, it would be 2 lakh rupees. On page number 3.159 and 3.160 illustration 8, there is interest on loan for repair. 55,000 self-occupied. No, it is not for self-occupied. In that question, we have assumed it as a deemed let out. When we assume it any property is a deemed let out, then let out provision applicable. So because in that question there was 55,000 rupees, it is allowed when we assume that property is deemed let out. And when we assume it is as a self-occupied, we restricted it up to 30,000 rupees. I hope it's clear now. Astha is asking, sir, in 80 QQB, even if there is joint author, he will get 3 lakh and not 150. Yes, because it was person-wise. But sir, how 15% deduction will it be divided among joint author or it will be separate? It would be separate calculation. Assume if there is a joint author, you can consider it as a separate person. 3 joint authors, you can consider it a separate deduction. You have to find it out. The aggregate of each would be 3 lakh rupees per person, not per book. Astha is asking, sir, in 80 EEB, every year we will get 150 deduction. And sir, under 80 UDD, if disability is 80%, then we will get 125. And if 40%, then 75. And in 10 AA, have to file report on 30th September or before. Yes, these are the correct information, whatever you have written. Next is, okay, so Mr. Chauhan, your doubt is clear. If the property is deemed let out, that means assume it as a let out. So in that case, there is a repair case also or construction case, there is no interest limit. If that is let out, there is no interest limit. If it is self-occupied and if it is for repair purpose, always 30,000 maximum. Other than repair for construction, etc. Then if loan is before 1st April 99, 30,000. On or after 1st April 99, construction complete in 5 years, it would be 2 lakh rupees max. Pooja is asking, sir, what is the difference between cash base of accounting and accrual base while solving the question? In case of cash base of accounting, we only consider those receipt or payment which we have received in this previous year. And in case of accrual system of accounting, we will consider those income and expenditure which is relevant for this previous year. Now, this is a kind of question I guess you should know because you are in now intermediate level. And this you must be understood what is the meaning of cash system of accounting and accrual system. So if cash system, you are receiving earlier year piece also in this year, then we will taxable in this year. But not in this mercantile case, that is not applicable. So you should understand the concept and accounts, of course. Next is Mr. Chauhan is saying correct, sir. Yes, correct. Moving forward, now I'm going to discuss a question which is very huge. Very, very huge. I never saw that kind of question in any RTP earlier or any MTP, etc. This is the gigantic question, we should say. That is RTP question number 10. The solution is very lengthy. And let me tell you, when we are going to solve this question, do not feel scared. Do not feel what kind of question this is. Do not take burden on your head, because in this question, there are very, very interesting points. Very interesting. And all are very confusing also. But that does not mean that this kind of confusing question, lengthy question, complicated question is going to be asked in examination. You should take this question as an experience, as a learning process, because the point which has been explained in this questions are very, very interesting point, and I believe there is no other question in MTP or case scenario or your test your knowledge which is having this kind of caliber, what you need to solve this kind of question. Let me show you the question. This is the question number 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, additional information A, B, C, D, E, F. The question continues. The question is almost 2.5 pages. And you want to see the solution? Now the solution start. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8. 8 pages solution. So do not feel that this kind of question in examination is going to be asked, because that is too long to solve in examination. But yes, out of this question, some relevant points could be asked. Ms. Harshada wants to ask something. Tanu is asking for an exam, this kind of long question asked. I just explained it to you. Not this kind of question cannot be asked in examination, but this out, the points in this question are so relevant that out of these points, 2 or 3 points could be the part of your examination. So that is possible. Screen is not showing. Just wait, just wait. That's fine. Okay, I guess, okay. I just forgot to share it. Now it's clear, I guess. You are able to see it. I just shared it. Okay, now you would be able to see it. So, my bad. Harshada, you wants to ask something? Can we unmute Harshada?
Hello, good evening, sir. I sent one query on the chat box. Is my chats visible actually?
Let me see. I guess now you are able to see the question. Let me see which is your.
This is the same question from this RTP. Sorry, same paper. This RTP question number 877. Sorry.
Question number 7. Is it for computation of total income? It is not opening in. Let me.
Computation for total income. I just wanted to know about the buyback of the shares, and they have included in the dividend.
Just wait,
So just that effect only.
Let me see. Let me see. Just a second. The question number 7 you want to ask?
Yes, sir. Mr. Aryan.
Mr. Aryan, yes. What is your question?
So that buyback of 50% shares of 250, right? So while computation in the solution, they have considered sales consideration is nil. And 250 is included. I mean, half is 10,000, that is 20,000. Half is 50% is 10,000 multiplied by 250 per share, and they have included that income in the dividend, in the other income from other source.
So there was an amendment now. We have discussed that when in November it has been done. I guess you have missed that amendment. Under income from other source, we have discussed this concept of buyback, and also in capital gain, if you must remember, up to 30th of September. In case of buyback, the treatment was in the hand of a company, domestic company, not in the hands of shareholder. On or after 1st October 2024, if the company buyback shares, then whatever amount a shareholder is received is going to be taxed as deemed dividend under section 222F. You might remember 220F, that would be regarded as his deemed dividend income under income from other source. And the capital gain would be result sale consideration nil, and whatever amount he has paid at the time of purchase would be his a cost. So that would result in a loss.
Okay.
So you are confusing because of date. If this date is before 1st October, then the treatment you were saying was correct. But because the date has been after 30th September, the problem has been amended. You can do one thing. You can go and
Okay.
take the class of
Okay. Okay. You got it, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Chalo bhai. Moving on to the RTP question, what we were talking about. That was question number 10. So now again, let me show you this huge gigantic question. It is on almost 2.5 pages and the solution is in 8 pages. Again, let me tell you that this kind of question, this kind of huge question cannot be asked in examination, but this is a very, very interesting question because the information which has been asked in this question for the purpose of solution is really, really very interesting. So let me read this question for all of you. Then we will move on to our case scenarios question. So that was RTP question. We are going to now solve it. First of all, as I always say, we have to see what is the requirement of question. So the requirement of question is again, of course, because it's a huge question, you are required to compute the post total income of Mr. Shobit and also the tax payable by him after TDS, TCS, if any, for assessment year 25-26, if he is opting out of the default tax regime. If he is opting out of the default tax regime, you have to calculate his tax, etc. Now, for the purpose of calculation of tax, we start this question from the starting information. Mr. Shobit, a resident individual age 54 year, engaged in the manufacture of spare part of car. He follows the mercantile system of accounting. You see any query on query portal? No. And regularly files his return of income. The profit and loss account for the year ended 31st March 25 shows a net profit of 57,25,000 after debiting credit the following amount. So his net profit is 57,25,000. Now, one by one, we will understand the information which has been given and then we will see the treatment. And like the first point is like that, I don't believe that this kind of point has been given in any question yet you might have solved. Or if there would be a kind of point that would be in very few questions. During the year, Mr. Shobit purchased, and I am going to ask all of you, what is going to be the treatment of these kind of points? Mr. Shobit purchased plant and machinery for 55 lakh, for which he took loan from a scheduled bank. Date of loan is 1st May 24 and rate of interest is 11% per annum. The asset was acquired on 1st July 2024 and put to use on 1st September 24. The entire interest amount is debited to the profit and loss account. The entire interest has been debited to the profit and loss account. So can you tell me what exactly we need to do? I am not asking you to do a calculation. I am just wanted to know the provision. What we should do in this case? They are saying whatever amount loan interest was, we just debit the full amount of interest on loan in the P&L. Look, the value has been given 55 lakh and 55 lakh rupees 11% per annum from 1st May. They have debited all the interest in P&L. So is it right or wrong? If I would have calculated this 55 lakh 11%, that would be 554583. So he just debit all the interest in the P&L. So is it right? If it is right, then we do not need to do anything with this point. But if it is not correct, what exactly we need to do for the correct solution of this point? Santosh is saying from 1st May to 1st September, we should not debit the interest. Jayendra is saying till 1st September 24, interest capitalized. Tanu is saying interest amount is capitalized in the value of asset. So she is saying interest allowed only from date of put to use. The interest for 3 months will be capitalized with the cost of plant and machinery. Therefore, interest of 201667 will be added back. So Khushi, that 3-month interest value is coming 2,01,667. Are you sure? 3 months interest is this much? Or you are just for the answer? That not be 3 months. This is given in the answer. So you might be reading it from there. From which month? But how it's possible? There would be at least again from May, June, July, August. There would be 4 months. Why 3 months you are writing? How? Farhan is saying capitalized up to put to use. Correct. In case of fixed asset, if you have taken that asset on loan, then till the asset has been put to use, all the expenditure need to be capitalized. In this case, the loan has been taken on 1st of May. An asset is put to use on 1st September 2024. So from May, June, July, August. कितने महीने होते हैं खुशी? May, June, July, August, 4 or 3? 4 months. So 4 months interest we need to add it back to the cost of the asset, which we have claimed as P&L revenue expenditure, which is not correct. So what we will do, the 4-month interest we are going to add it back into the net profit. That would be 201,667. Correct, Kushi? So this is an information. We have just done the treatment of it. On 1st April 2024, the production manager working in the factory of Mr. Shobhit took retirement, voluntarily retirement from the services. Mr. Shobhit paid him 8 lakh as compensation for his service under the voluntarily retirement scheme. So now what we did in point number 2, some production manager has taken the voluntary retirement and we have paid some compensation to him and we have debited full 8 lakh rupees in our P&L account. So is it right or not? You must have gone through with the provision of PGBP head. So is it correct or not? If it is not correct, what is the provision say? Pooja is saying 5 equal installment allowed. So 4/5 would not be allowed. Very good. Money Vanan saying rupees 160 adjusted and rupees 640 to be deferred. So 640 need to be disallowed. Correct. Well done. This can be allowed in 5 years and we have claimed full amount in a year 1. So that is not allowed. At least 4/5 needs to be disallowed. Asta also gave the correct answer. Well done. Jayendra is saying 640 disallowed. Santosh is saying 1/5 is allowed. So absolutely correct. So for this point, we are going to disallow 6,40,000 rupees. So do not take this question by taking burden on your head that this is so huge. Just look at the points those have been specifically included in this question. Beautifully drafted question. It just to make you practice very, very interesting point, which might not have been asked in any other question. Now, third point you can see. Mr. Shobhit purchased raw material from Messrs. Kamal and Sons, a micro enterprises, and Messrs. Hitesh and Son, a medium enterprises, for 51,000 and 75,000 respectively on 15th March 2025. So there is section 43BH. As per the written agreement with them, both the payment has to be made by 10th April 25. Mr. Shobhit made the payment to Messrs. Kamal and Sons on 9th April 25 and to Messrs. Hitesh and Son on 15th November 2025. So this has been made within time. This payment has been made within time. So the payment to Mr. Kamal has been made within time as per section 43BH. So there is not going to be any disallowance. So there would be no treatment regarding this point. But this has been paid beyond the time allowed in section 43BH as per MSME Act. So what do we need to do in case of 75,000? Mani Vanan is saying both adjustment is in order. Why the second adjustment is in order, Mr. Mani Vanan? It is beyond the specific time. Who is saying not allowed? Mani Vanan is saying correct. He has just given the correct answer. Correct. The 43BH only covered micro enterprises, small and micro enterprises. If you are not going to pay them within a specific time, then that such expenditure is going to be disallowed. But it is not applicable on medium enterprises. So because Hitesh and Son is a medium enterprises, so you can pay it later on the basis of due purchase due, you can claim the deduction. So this is not disallowed because it is within time. This is not disallowed because it is a medium enterprises and 43BH not applicable in this case. So they both are in order. We do not need to disallow anything in this case. Moving on to point number 4. He contributed. Shagufta is saying not allowed. Shagufta, it is allowed. Okay. Now, the fourth point, again, this is a new point. I have not seen this point in, I guess, in test knowledge question, etc. He contributed 20% of basic salary to the account of each employee under a pension scheme referred to in section 80 CCD, which is debited to the profit and loss account. Basic salary of the employees aggregate to 10 lakh and dearness allowance is 40% of basic salary and it forms part of the retirement benefit. So he actually debited 20% of basic salary, 80 CCD, 20% of basic salary. How much is the basic salary? 10 lakh. And 20% would be 2 lakh rupees. So he actually debited 2 lakh rupees for the purpose of claiming deduction in case of section 80 CCD contribution. Now what 80 CCD says that you can only claim 14% contribution as deduction. You can claim only 14% as a contribution in case of deduction. But we have paid 20%. So how much would be disallowance in this case? How much I'm going to disallow in this case? If we have contributed 20%, but the allowed limit is 40%, 14%. So what amount is going to be disallowed in this case? There is also very tricky information in this. Rupees 60,000 disallowed under 80 CCD. Jayendra is saying 4,000. Tanu is saying 60,000. Astha is saying 60,000. Dekho, the correct answer is 4,000. Now think about it. Why 4,000? I have written down the percentage correctly. 20% he has contributed, but allowed is only 14%. So this is correct information. But the correct answer is not 60,000. The correct answer is 4,000. So you have to find out why it's 4,000 and how 4,000 has been derived. Yes, Kushi has gave the correct answer. Well done, Kushi. Because 14% contribution is allowed, which is saying basic salary plus DA as per terms of retirement benefit. 14% of this value is allowed. He contributed 20% of basic salary. So we have to find out 14% of basic plus dearness allowance. And you can see in this question, it has been mentioned that DA is forming part of the retirement benefit. So basic is 10, DA is 4 lakh 40%. So 14 lakh 14%. We have to see how much that would be. 1,96,000. So as per 80 CCD, you could claim 1,96,000 maximum deduction, which is up to 14%. But you have claimed 2 lakh rupees. So how much you have claimed extra? 4,000. So we are going to add back 4,000 in our profit. So you are seeing that these don't just bother about that why this question is so complicated, so huge. Just adopt this question for the purpose of your examination. I believe out of this question, 2 or 3 points is going to be asked in the examination because this is the kind of question I have never seen it. Now, depreciation debited to profit and loss account is 27,50,000. What do I need to do with this? क्या करना है इसको? Add back करें, reduce करें या कुछ ना करें? बताओ बच्चों. What do we need to do with this? बड़ा सिंपल है. This is depreciation as per accounting, so we need to add it back. We will find out the depreciation as per income tax and we will deduct that depreciation. So this depreciation needs to be added back. As usual, we have discussed this kind of point in every PGP question. Add back. Tanu is saying add back. Jendra is saying add back. Shagupta is saying add back. Pooja is saying add back. Harshada also saying add back. Everybody is given the correct answer. Add back. Very good. Ushan, Mani, Vakanan also saying add back. Dhanush is saying add. Okay, Mr. Dhanush. Astha is not saying. Santosh is saying add back. Yes, I've done it. Okay. Next is he received 13,850 as income tax refund, out of which 3850 is interest on refund. So 3850 is interest on refund. The entire amount is credited to profit and loss account. So how much I am going to add back in this case? 13850 do I need to add back or 3850? How much I am going to add back? 13850 or 3850? Yes, money 3850 to consider under income from the source. I am asking how much do I need to add back? 3850. Santosh is saying 13850 need to add back. Okay, Santosh, correct answer. I'm not asking how much is going to show in income from other source. I'm just asking how much is going to be added back in this case. Pooja is saying 13850. Harshida is again saying in on refund other source. I am not asking about the other source. I am just asking about, yes. Now Harshida saying 13850. Yes. Ishan has given the correct answer. It is not going to be add back. I am asking add back and you all are saying add back 1385. Why it not be add back? That is the income. We need to reduce it from my profit. You can see I am asking again and again how much is going to be add back. And Ishan is saying no sir, it's going to be reduced. Of course it's going to be reduced. But other students are just giving the answer 13850 plus, 13850 plus. You should say, sir, it's not going to be plus, it's going to be reduced. Shagufta also gave that answer. No, Asthas gave the correct answer. Most of you are just write it down. Yes, Jayendra now said 13850 should be deducted. So it is going to be reduced because that's an income part, which is not as my PGBP income, which is going to be the income from other source. So this 13850 is going to be reduced from PGBP. And of course, interest part is going to be shown under income from other source. That was, I guess, 3850. How much it is? Yes, 3850. Additional information. So these were not additional information, what you are saying. Now there are more additional information regarding this question. Additional information says Mr. Shobhit purchased a new computer on 31st August 24 and was put to use on the same day in his office. The payment was made as under 28,000 paid in cash at the time of purchase of new computer on 31st August. So because he paid more than 10,000 in cash on the same day, so this part is going to be disallowed. You cannot claim the depreciation on it. We all know about this. 25,000 he has paid via account pay check for the purpose of computer and it has been paid on 5 September. So we can claim the depreciation on this 25,000 rupees and we are going to claim 40% of it. So this is going to be reduced. That would be 10,000 rupees. I hope it's clear. Just give me a second. Okay. So now WDV for other asset also has been given in the question. We will charge the depreciation accordingly. Plant and machinery 8 lakh rupees. So we will charge the depreciation at the rate of 15%. That is going to be reduced. That would be 1,20,000. Factory building, the DAP rate would be 10%. That would be 6,4,500. He paid 50,000 as life insurance premium taken on the life. This is regarding the 80C, etc. And we can solve it one by one because in this question, I am not going to ask you to solve the complete. I'm just trying to solve each information one by one. So when you will summarize all those information, there will be the solution in front of us. Okay, now tell me, he paid 50,000 as life insurance premium taken on the life of his father who is dependent on him. And the sum assured is 8 lakh rupees and the policy was taken on 1st April 2015. So can he claim 80C deduction in this case, student? Pooja is saying no. Tanu is saying no. Astha is saying father not included in the definition. So definitely no. Very good. Kushi is saying no. Santosh is saying something else. Mohammad Farhan is saying father is not a relative. Father is a relative but has not been included for the purpose of section 80C deduction. Gupta is saying no. Almas is saying no deduction. No deduction. Correct. So because father does not include in the definition of family for section 80C, so we cannot claim the deduction. Now he also paid 45,000 as life insurance premium taken on the life of his married daughter, who is not dependent on him. The sum is 5 lakh and the policy taken on 1st April 2017. So now can he claim deduction under 80C for her independent married daughter or not? Pooja is saying yes. Ishan is saying yes. Vasta is saying yes. Because in case of children, whether dependent or not, both has been included. We are not solving this question under default tax regime, Farhan. We are solving this question under optional tax regime. So deduction would be there. Very well done, everyone. So that is going to be allowed 45,000. Now on 1st October 24, he withdrew 1.5 crore in cash from two current account maintained by him with PNB Bank of India. There are no other withdrawals during the year. So what is going to be the treatment in this case? Is there anything applicable under PGVP head or any other head of income, or this information is having any impact on our question? Okay, Farhan is saying TDS. Okay, Ishan also saying that. So she also saying the TDS 194N. Very good. TDS 194N. How much TDS is going to be deducted in this case? Aksa Banu also saying 194N. how much TDS need to be deducted in this case? Up to 1 crore. There would not be any TDS in this case, but exceeding 1 crore, the value which is over 1 crore, we have to deduct TDS at the rate of 2%. So on 50 lakh rupees, 2% must have been deducted. So the TDS must have been deducted as 1 lakh rupees. So when you will calculate the tax liability, you need to reduce 1 lakh rupees from the tax liability. I hope it's clear. Next is Shagufta is saying 194L. What is this, Shagufta? Correct. Next information. Mr. Shobit had sold a house on 30th March. Now this is for capital gain. 2022 and deposited the long-term capital gain of 25 lakh rupees in capital gain account. Remember, this is March 2022. So we are talking about financial year 21-22. For that year, he deposited 25 lakh rupees in capital gain by due date of filing of return of income for that year. So he must have claimed the deduction in that year. So nothing to worry. Now on 1st July 24, he sold another house property in which he resided. Got it? For rupees 1 crore. So now the sale consideration for this property is 1 crore in which he resided. And it has been sold on 1st July 24. The date is very relevant in case of capital gain, before 23rd of July 24. He earned a long-term capital gain without indexation benefit of 50 lakh on sale of this property. So without indexation, the capital gain is 50 lakh on sale of this property. On 5th January 25, he withdrew the whole money out of his capital gain account. So long-term capital gain without indexation in this case was 50 lakh. On 5th January 25, he withdrew the whole money. Whole money means 1 crore rupees out of his capital gain and invested 60 lakh on construction of a house in Mumbai. Now total investment in a house under section 54 is 60 lakh. And you can see in earlier year, there was a capital gain of 25 lakh rupees for which he has invested and deposited amount in the gain scheme. So out of this 60 lakh, 25 lakh rupees was relevant year is 22-23, that was 21-22. So that amount withdrawal is utilized for 21-22 gain. So for current year, the utilization amount is 35 lakh rupees. The construction of the house completed on 23rd March 25. So it has been completed before the due date of ROI. The index cost of acquisition of the house property is 60 lakhs. So because the property has been transferred before 23rd of July, so we will take the index cost of acquisition in this case. That is 60 lakhs. So the current year gain would be 40 lakh rupees. And out of this gain, 54, you have utilized 35 lakh rupees for the construction of property before due date of ROI. So the long-term capital gain in this case would be 5 lakh rupees. So that 12.5% rate is not applicable because the property has been transferred before 23rd of July. This information has just given you to confuse you because we have to take the indexation benefit because property has been transferred before 23rd of July. Now you are required to compute the total income of Shobhit and also the tax payable after TDS, TCS, etc. So that was a gigantic question. You can see that. But when you solve it step by step, tell me, do you feel any information or any step was difficult if you remember the provision? Look, if you did not remember this provision of voluntarily retirement, if you do not remember this provision, then there is a different thing. But if any one of you already revise these provision and if you know the concept, so do you think any point was difficult like this? Is this point is difficult? Is this point is difficult? Is this 43BH is difficult? Is this depreciation? Is this income tax refund point? Is this calculation of depreciation, 80C deduction, whether this capital gain is difficult or not? There is nothing like this which we can say that is difficult. Now there's only one thing left. We did not charge the depreciation regarding this first point. In first point, the 55 lakh machine we have purchased and we need to capitalize 201667 value. And on this value, we need to charge the depreciation at the rate of 50%. That would be 855,250. If you have seen in this question, he was the manufacturer. Does it affect anything in my question if he's a manufacturer? Does it affect something if he's a manufacturer in this question? Why I said this question is complicated, because every information is having some kind of impact. Mohammad Farhan is saying additional depreciation. Correct. If any person who is a manufacturer and purchasing new plant and machinery, except that motor car and there are some specific second-hand plant and machinery which has been used outside India, then you can claim additional depreciation. And you can see he is fulfilling all the additional depreciation condition in this question. So we need to claim additional depreciation also in this value. So 15% would be the normal depreciation and there would be additional depreciation on this value also. 20% of it is additional depreciation. So that would be around 1140,333. So now we have solved all the information. Let me show you the solution also. You can see we have solved this 57,25,000. Depreciation as per books of accounts. We have added it back in the solution part also. Then you can see this capitalized interest, what needs to be disallowed because you have claimed the full interest as P&L expenditure, but the amount of interest up to put to use needs to be capitalized and need to be the part of your asset. That compensation we cannot claim because we can only claim 1/5, but you have claimed the full value. So 4/5 or 80% needs to be added back. That payment to Kamal within time. So there is no disallowability. Payment to Hitesh. It was a medium enterprises. So 43BH is not applicable. Excess contribution under CCD. We have seen 2 lakh rupees was the contribution, but the allowable should be only 1,96,000. Everything has been explained in this. Okay. Then there is this income tax refund need to be reduced. Depreciation on factory building, plant and machinery, only computer that part which has been paid in down pay check. Plant and machinery, 57 lakh at the rate of 15%. That was 55 lakh plus capitalized value and the additional depreciation you can see. That would be this value. After this would be my PGBP income. Capital gain, sales consideration, index cost of acquisition, this would be 40 lakh. Indexation benefit will be of course there because it is provided or transferred before 23rd of July. Out of this 40 lakh, we have claimed 35 lakh rupees as a capital gain exemption. 5 lakh is going to be my long-term capital gain value. Income from other source was only 3850. This is my GTI. Independent or dependent father is not included, so deduction cannot be claimed. Daughter premium is allowed as deduction. This would be my total income, upon which the 5 lakh, which is for capital gain, going to be charged at the rate of 20%, and the balance income of 70 lakh 75,000 is going to be taxed as per slab rate. Because the income exceed 50 lakh rupees but does not exceed 1 crore. So in this case, surcharge also applicable. After that, cess would be there. The TDS which has been deducted or which would have been deducted 1 lakh rupees on exceeding 1 crore is needs to be a prepaid tax, whatever you have paid. So the balance would be your final tax liability. So you can see we did not calculate AMT in this because we just need to calculate tax as per optional tax regime in this solution. This was a very, very good question, what we have just solved over here. Harshada is saying, sir, is computer installed in office, installed in manufacturing has different? Yes. If it is installed in factory, then you can claim the additional depreciation. But if it is installed in office, then you cannot claim the additional depreciation. Now we have to solve some case scenario. The case scenarios, cases are very, I guess, simple, easy to solve. There are case scenario. Number 18 we have to solve first. Just a second. These are case scenario. Case scenario number 18. You can see the case scenario. Mr. Abhishek Seth, age 42 years, is working as a CEO of Soil Limited. He provides you the following information for preparation and filing of his income tax return for the year ended 31st March 2025. Salary, allowance and perquisite has been given 1 crore 35 lakh. Dividend has been 5 lakh 90,000. Interest income on saving bank account is 24350. The long-term capital gain has been given in question 173540, which has been on 15 December 24. The short-term capital gain on transfer of listed equity shares STT paid or at the time of transfer and acquisition on 22nd June 2024 is 73 lakh rupees 111A. This would be 112. The investments in 3-year post office time deposit, PF contribution, tuition fees, NHAI bonds, etc. This question we have discussed for deduction purpose also earlier and for clubbing also. His son, Master Dhaval, age 15 year, has also earned the following income. So we have seen this income is not going to be clubbed. We have discussed this question. Interest income is going to be clubbed after giving 1500 exemption. That would be 8,000 rupees. This is going to be clubbed. The question says we have to apply out of default tax regime provision. So let's see which MCQ is relevant for us. The second one. What is the gross total income of Mr. Abhishek for assessment year 25-26? So in the question, there was a salary income, 1 crore 35 lakh, out of which there would be standard deduction of 50,000. So after sin deduction, that would be 1 crore 34 lakh 50,000. Then long-term capital gain 112, which is on 15th December 24 has been given 173,540. Then short-term capital gain 111A has been given 73 lakh. There was some income from other source also in the question, that is 5,90,000. And interest income was 24,530. And the clubbing income, which is also an interest income, was 8,000 rupees. So my GTI would be 213,72530. Now taking the deduction, which would be 80 C 75,000 and 80 TTA, that was 10,000 rupees. After this, my total income would be, in this MCQ, they did not ask for total income. Why I am calculating total income? Because in the next MCQ, we have to calculate the tax also. That's why I have already calculated total income also, 21287530. So now the question number 2 answer we all have, that is option number A would be your correct answer. Sorry, not option number A. 21372. The question is asking for total income. So that would be 2128. It's not 2128, it would be 21287530. There is some calculation mistake, I guess. Gross total income 213,72530. That should be option number A should be correct answer. There is some, yes, option number A is the correct answer. Right. Now the question number 4 asking, what shall be the tax liability of Mr. Abhishek for assessment year 25-26? So we have seen that we have income that was 212875 and 30. Now in this case, we have to calculate tax separately because there are some special rate of income is there. 73 lakh belongs to short-term capital gain under section 111A. Then tax on before 23rd of July, if you will see, we have a capital gain of 1 lakh. Just a second. Tax has been also discussed over here. That was my gross total income. Now this is my total income. The short-term capital gain was 73 lakh at the rate of 15%, on which the tax would be 10,95,000. On the balance income, if you will see on the balance income, the tax liability would be on 139,87530, that would come 51,03759. Surcharge we do need to add. Then says, and the liability would be 6104100. That would be my tax liability in this case. Next is case scenario number 22. Okay, there was an information Asta is asking on long-term cap gain. On long-term capital gain, we have invested. Actually, the capital gain, long-term capital gain, you can see was 1,73,000 3,540. This is exempted under section 54 EC. There is some investment in the bonds. Subscription to NHAI bonds, 2 lakh rupees. So that is not going to be the part of my GTI also. So this has been exempted. This is not going to be the part of my GTI, and this is going to be fully exempted. So there is only 2 income. In this GTI, we only consider this income and our short-term capital gain. So this is considering only 111A and other income. That's why we didn't pay tax on long-term capital gain. Clear? Moving on to case scenario number 22. Case scenario 22 says Mr. Animesh, an Indian citizen, age 61 years. Now we can check what kind of answer do we need to give in this case. Question number 4 and 5 we need to answer. And it is asking what would be the total income of Mr. Animesh for the assessment year 25-26 if he has exercised the option to shift out of the default tax regime. So first of all, we have to find out the total income in this case. And they also ask about the tax liability in this case. So accordingly, we need to read the information and will collect the relevant thing which is required to calculate the total income and the tax liability. So Animesh, an Indian citizen, age is 61 years. Has set up his business in Canada, residing in Canada, owns a house property in Canada, half of which is used for residence and half is given on rent, converted into ITR, etc. So on the basis of the information which has been given in question, the house property income that you need to solve yourself, that is going to be 138200. The capital gain has been given 18 lakh. Income from other source from this question would be 3,10,000. Then the GTI would be 2248,200. Now question number 22, there was a principal of loan amount, whatever we have paid. That principal of loan amount can be claimed as deduction, and that deduction would be 80,000 rupees. Under section 80C, we can claim this deduction. Principal payment of the house loan. Remaining would be 2168,200. So this is going to be my total income. Option number 2168,200. Now we need to calculate the tax. And the question is now asking, computed the manner so as to minimize his tax liability. And when this kind of question has been asked, that you have to minimize your tax liability or your assessees or your client tax liability. So that means now we have to calculate tax as per both provision. So the value was, as per normal provision, we have calculated our income is 2168,200. As per normal, that means shifting out of the default tax regime. My income is 2168,200, which comprises long-term capital gain at the rate of 20%. Value is 1675,000. And balance is 368200. In case of long-term capital gain, the exemption was 1,25,000 has been claimed. So after this exemption, the long-term capital gain was 18 lakh. It is a long-term cap gain under section 112A. So 1 lakh 25,000. Exemptions. After that, the taxable capital gain would be 16,75,000. The tax would be at the rate of 10%. That would be 167500. And the balance tax as per slab rate would be 3410. The total tax would be 170910 and the cess 6836. So that would be 177750. Now you have to calculate the income and the tax as per default tax regime again. You can see this solution. Point number 5, you need to calculate the tax accordingly. As per normal liability, it is 17750. Then when you will go for default tax regime, in that situation, the tax liability would be 181910. So lower would be the tax liability, that would be 17750. The remaining case scenarios, etc. One case scenario is there. You have to solve it yourself, student. If there's any query, I would like to see. Look, examination is like 1 month away from now. So you have to increase your time for study. If you are studying for like whatever time you are giving for your examination, you have to increase the hour of study. Be focused, make short notes. And one thing is very important, and I guess we have discussed this thing a lot of times, that you have to revise the topic. You have to practice each and everything again and again and again. More practice will definitely going to give you a lot of confidence. You will be able to solve the question in the examination, as well as you are going to solve those questions in the examination in lesser time. And time is money. Time is very, very important. So if you are able to solve a question less than the required time, that would really give you a lot of confidence, and that give you an extra time for the other questions in which you might need that extra time to solve. Make a proper schedule for your studies. Shagufta is saying, sir, May exam in January 25. That is, well, my exam is in January 25. It should be January 26, Shagufta. 25 January has been gone. So of course, these classes is for September and January 26 examination also. So there would be maybe more revision class for January 26, but these classes are relevant for September 25 and also for January 2026. Do not leave any chapter. Do not go for selected study. Please revise as much as you can. Make a proper schedule and please make sure that you follow it also. Now, ma'am is here, and I guess ma'am is going to guide you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for this wonderful session and your, concluding remarks. Because it's the last class of revisionary, and now it's all up to the students how they practice. It's not like you or me, we board of studies are not available for them. After this class, also students, if you have any doubt, sir will also be available. Because whatever the doubt, if you have, you can communicate to us. We will reach out to sir in case of anything which he taught you and you have a doubt, and you can any query which you have. We have one session for success at CA examination. One session we had yesterday, and the second session we had after second series of MTP. So in that session also you may ask, or during the time of practice also, in your revision, your practice, if you have any doubt related to any provision, you can ask your query in your mobile app. In your mobile app, there is an option of ask your query. You can put your query there and send it to it will be reached to the respective subject faculty. So I have one query from Miss Tanu. If in exam total income calculation asked, then how much time we give? Student like this, if you see this paper is of 50 marks. So you have 180 minutes for, I'll say both the paper, GST and income tax. So if you divide equally 90 minutes for your this paper, 1.5 hour, and your 90 minutes for your GST portion. So your first question, according to the calculation, if I'll see for your first question that is of 15 marks, you can give according to the calculation, it will be of your 27 minutes. Okay, but I advise you to complete it within, try to do 20 to 25 minutes, maximum 25 minutes, because after that because maybe some adjustment you are not so sure of, or you may not recall that point of time, you have to go through the solution after that. So try to complete your paper before at least 15 minutes before the time, so that you can just go through again the solution with what you have done. Because many time it happens ki when we do the adjustment, we are not so sure of, but we do the adjustment. Afterward, it with the other questions, it clicked ki that should be the treatment. So give sufficient time to just go through and read your answer which we have given. So according to that, 25 minutes you should give to the first question of your total income and tax liability, according to the marks weightage of 15 marks to that. Ma'am, please tell, can we use blue pen, black pen both, or only black pen? Asta, for that, I guess as per the information which I have, you have to use black pen. But for that, the examination guidelines, just visit your institute website, and there in the examination portal, just read carefully all the guidelines and just be adhere to the guidelines which is given there. If it is clearly mentioned that it should be used, black pen should be used, just use the black pen only. As far as my knowledge, it's I guess black pen is only permissible, but just read the examination guidelines for that also. Any other doubt, student? Any other query, journal query regarding the paper, or Tanu is asking? Yes, only black pen. Yes. Manivannan has 1 second. Manivannan, I'll just unmute you. You want to say something?
Yeah, the case-based scenario, if the option A, B, C, D, both all are not correct, how to answer that?
First of all, in that, because if you see in the May 25 examination also, there are MCQs in which it's not possible to drive the calculation, or there is some ambiguity or mistake. In that case, institute take care of that and give you the credit for that question. But because in the MCQ, there is no negative marking, so don't leave any MCQ. Just attempt the MCQ, whatever the answer you got, the most appropriate answer which you derived from your calculation, just tick the answer, don't leave the MCQ. In case there is ambiguity or the question is not right, or all the 4 options are correct, then institute definitely will take care of that.
Thank you.
Shubhanshi, exam guidelines के लिए, okay, I'll see and give you the link for the exam guidelines. It is there in the institute website. When you go to the students page, there is an option of examinations. 1 second, I'll just show you. 1 second, I'll just share my screen. In the meanwhile, okay, I'm just sharing also. I have a query from ma'am. Center कहाँ जाते हैं? It's not clear, Nidhi. What center कहाँ जाते हैं मतलब? Query के लिए Shafaqda, for January definitely, because this LVC, the LVC which we had, that is for September and January. This LVRC, after LVC we had an LVRC for your revisions. So similarly for January attempt also, there will be a revisionary classes. You can ask your query in that revisionary classes for January examination. But don't wait that the schedule will be there for the January examination. You start your preparation, your revision, or any query you can ask in your BUS mobile app through Ask Your Query option. Exam center, Nidhi, it depends upon the examination department, because Board of Studies does not have any link with that ki examination, how they allot the centers to you. The location which you have fit in your examination form, according to that, or your database which you have in your SSP portal, they took that data for your examination center. This is the institute website, students. In the examination, many details regarding your contact details of the examination, your examination guidelines for September 25, the date, city master, your guidance note for foundation, intermediate, what are the requirements for applying, the guidelines, requirement, everything is there in important days. Everything is there in this. You have to go, this is your institute website, you have to click to the students. Then there is an option of BOS knowledge portal, CA course, then examination. You can get every detail from this page. September ke liye, then verification, everything, every detail you will get here. Nidhi. Yes, Nidhi, exam mein calculator is allowed, but should not be the scientific calculator. Normal calculator is allowed in examination. Ma'am, GST and DT both combined 40%. Astha, what is your query? I didn't understand. GST and both combined 40% means? Any other queries, students, regarding anything, regarding the technical or journal part or anything? Minimum, yes, minimum 40, not individually. For taxation paper, I guess it's not individually because the one paper. So 40 marks you have to score in this taxation paper, combined 40 marks. GST or Nidhi, I'll talk about income tax. GST ke liye you have to ask in the respective sessions for GST. For income tax, there will be 4 questions. First question will be I'm talking about the descriptive part first. Because in your 50 marks paper, 15 marks, your 30% of 50 marks will be for the case scenario based MCQ. So your 15 marks will be for case scenario based MCQ. Regarding the descriptive portion of 35 marks, first question will be the compulsory question, that will be your 15 marks. So your first question go to that compulsory question. Then you will have 3 questions of 10 marks each. And you have to attempt any 2 questions. So that 2 questions of 10 marks each, then 20 marks and your 15 marks compulsory question. So 35 marks you have to attempt in the descriptive question. First question will be the compulsory. In one of the optional question, like second, third or fourth, in one of the optional question, you will have one internal choice also. That in the subparts you have to do, like suppose in the fourth question or third question, you may have 3 parts and you have to attempt any 2. Or first part will be the compulsory in that question. In the second part, there will be an alternative. You can do that or this. So this will be there. In the case scenario based MCQs, 15 marks. All the MCQs are compulsory. There is no negative marking, no reasoning are required for that. And you have to attempt every MCQs. There will be no option to leave the MCQs. Ishan, should we do the MCQ first or the descriptive? See, Ishan, for that, there cannot be a one, universal answer for this question. It is upon you, like if you are you see the question paper, if you find that case scenario based, you are more comfortable with the case scenario based MCQ, do that part first. Otherwise, move to the descriptive part. Because what happened in the MCQ also, I will not tell ki MCQ is not time consuming. Definitely, they will be the time consuming also. But the best part is that in the MCQ, you are not supposed to write the reasons. So your presentation and reasoning time will be saved in the MCQ. But in the descriptive part, you have to write each and every provision. Whatever the adjustment you are doing, you have to substantiate that. Your presentation also matters. So for that, your writing skills, your presentation skills will matter the most in your descriptive part. But in the MCQs, you can roughly do the calculation or do the calculation in your calculator on in your mind and do the answer. Your writing time will be saved in the MCQs. So it depends upon you in which you are more comfortable with. If you know the case scenario based MCQs better, and you know everything there, and you are more confident that in that you can use the time for the case scenario based MCQ first to score good marks, like your 15 marks for the case scenario based, if you are so sure of it. शुभांशी, इसके लिए ओल्ड स्कीम से प्रिंसिपल अप्रूवल के लिए आई जस्ट टेल यू द मेल आईडी, यू जस्ट any this kind of query regarding to your articleship or regarding to apart from this that paper subject query, you can ask your just write a mail to bosnoida@icai.in. You can write your query related to your articleship or any other query apart from this subject. ठीक है? Any other queries, students? Nidhi said it's yes. Yes, BOS helpline की है, तो whatever the respective concerned person के पास, they will forward your query and you will get a reply from them. So there is no query in my chat box.
मैम शगुफ्ता की एक क्वेरी है, शी इज आस्किंग कि केस सिनेरियोज पोर्टल पे अपलोडेड है?
Yes, portal पे if you see after your login, case scenario जो MCQ booklet में है, that is also uploaded, and apart from that other case scenarios are also uploaded in the portal. So if you are comfortable in online, you can do it from the portal. If you are comfortable in the hard form, you can do it from the booklet. So any other query in your chat box or
No, ma'am, no more query over here. Can we conclude?
Yes, Shubhanshi, BOS mobile app पे you will get the there is an option of MCQ paper practice. You will get the MCQs and case scenario there. Okay, students. So, sir.
Yes, ma'am, we can close the session. All the best, student, for your examination. I hope you will all get success. And ma'am is saying we are all with you till your examination and even after that.
Even now, yes, sir.
Even if you have any problem, you can contact on the BOS app and that would be solved, of course. All the best to all of you from my side.
All the best, students.
Yes.
Yes.
Good night.